Well, howdy there, folks. James, Political Friar, coming to you again. Got the Baylor Law hat on, so we're going to have a legal topic today. It's not going to be the sort of hard law legal topic that I really enjoy, explaining things like collateral estoppel or presidential immunity. We're just going to talk about a little bit of trial strategy. See, Donald Trump took the stand for a little more than 3 minutes today, and I think that was a mistake. So here's a few things to know about juries and jury trials and what it's like to be in a courtroom. The judge has every advantage. He is sitting up on the big bench. He's wearing the black robes. He's vested with the power of judgment and the ability to really be the boss of his courtroom. And it is incumbent upon judges to be kind of fair and kind of even-handed, but that perception of fairness and even-handedness can go out the window when one party or the other misbehaves. And it's not at all uncommon for judges to yell at the parties that are misbehaving. I had an experience with a judge who would literally holler at a person if they were a minute late for argument. They would allow the other side to start arguing if you were late for a hearing. And that kind of disrespect for one side, well, it sends a signal. It sends a signal to the jury. See, lay people who get called for jury duty, maybe they've been to jury duty before, maybe they haven't, but what they haven't done is spent a lot of time in a courtroom. And these courtrooms are designed to be intimidating. They're designed to provide this aura of authority. And when one party gets on the wrong side of the judge, you inevitably end up on the wrong side of the jury. And Donald Trump came into that courtroom and muttered under his breath about how it was a witch hunt, it was unfair, this, that, the other. And all it did was allow the judge to remind the jury that he has contempt for Donald Trump. And there's no doubt that this judge has contempt for Donald Trump. That's true. That's arguably fair. I mean, think about the posture of this case. This case started out with the understanding that Donald Trump sexually abused E. Jean Carroll. That was a preliminary finding. Jury had nothing to do with that. And so this judge who sentences people who sexually assault people in criminal cases to years in prison, he probably isn't so impressed with a guy who will shove his fingers into a non-consenting woman's vagina in a changing room. And when Donald Trump got up on the stand, the judge very strictly enforced the rule of evidence that only irrelevant evidence can be introduced. Any evidence that Donald Trump might have wanted to present that said, I didn't do it, isn't relevant. For the purposes of this proceeding, he did it. That is not an open question. It's a closed question. And so when Donald Trump decided he wanted to testify, obviously he wanted to get on the record his denials, his political message that no, this is all a witch hunt. But the legal message that the judge had no reason to let him use his courtroom to send that message. What the judge did to diffuse this is he instructed the jury, remember, this man who is about to speak to you sexually abused a woman in a changing room. He literally, the judge says, he inserted his fingers in her vagina non-consensually. Okay, now get up on the stand, Donnie. I can't imagine that goes over well with the jury, especially because the jury is going to be asked two questions. One question is, how much has Donald Trump's defamation demonstrated, proved defamation of E. Jean Carroll? How much has that damaged her in economic terms? Like, how much has that cost her in book deals? How much has that cost her in all sorts of other ways that you could actually assign a dollar number to? Second, well, I guess he's actually going to ask three questions. Second, how much distress, how much emotional distress has E. Jean Carroll suffered from Donald Trump just denying that he sexually abused her, and the natural follow-on from Donald Trump's supporters who like to get onto different platforms and make threats and, sometimes even, attempt violence. How much emotional distress has that caused her? And next, how much would be an appropriate amount to punish Donald Trump for his wrongdoing. That's what punitive damages are, and punitive damages are available in this case. And so Donald Trump gets up on the stand moments after the judge reminds the jury that he, put his fingers into her vagina without her consent. And he gets asked, do you stand by your deposition? And the deposition said, I didn't do it. He says, yes, I did stand by my deposition, and it's because I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything wrong. And the judge says, strike that. It's irrelevant. And it was very clear that the judge was telling the jury, this is a bad guy. And at least in this context, I think that that's actually fair. The lawyer who let Donald Trump get up on the stand needs to be taken out and beaten with reeds. I mean, maybe the lawyer didn't have the chutzpah to tell Donald Trump no. Actually, almost certainly that's the case. He makes sure that he picks weak people to put around him so that he can dominate them. And she's getting a good deal out of it. She's getting a lot of fame. She's going to make a ton of money. Her life is set because of her participation in this trial. But she's not going to tell him no. There is no adult in the room when Donald Trump says, I want to testify. He shouldn't have testified. He probably cost himself millions of dollars by getting up on the stand, disobeying the judge, being petulant, and then getting off the stand immediately because he wasn't going to be allowed to say anything that he wanted to say. I genuinely think that Donald Trump has a absolute faith in his ability to spin BS. But in the context of testifying at court, there's only one person with a gavel. There's no bully pulpit when the guy's up on the bench. And so Donald Trump learned that, and that couldn't have been a good look for the jury, because the jury, they're not going to be hung. You can't have one steadfast Donald Trump supporter get him off the hook like you could if this was a question of liability. He's already liable. The only question the jury is going to ask is how much it costs him. Well, that testimony cost him more. We will see how much. The jury is empowered to go for a punitive damages number that's outrageous. And that won't get upheld, but this is a political trial. And if the jury comes back with, $2 million in economic damages and $8 million in emotional damages and $100 million in punitive damages, I don't know. I mean, Trump can appeal it, and it'll probably be reduced at the appellate level because punitive damages at that portion aren't usually favored. But it's going to be a lot, and it would have been less if Donnie had just kept his mouth shut. Then again, he wouldn't even be in court if he kept his mouth shut. But that kind of discipline, presidential material, isn't it? Anyway, just a thought. Let me know what I got wrong in the comments down below. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't, please. And, maybe tell a friend. I appreciate you. Thanks.